Our third finalist is Erik Häggblom, CEO and co-founder Tribaldata from Spain. Erik, are you ready?
I'm ready. Thank you, Sue. So as Sue was saying, my name is Erik Häggblom. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Tribaldata. And we give marketers today superpowers to actually understand and connect with the sustainable conscious consumer whilst fighting climate change at the same time. Can someone pass the slide, please? Did you hear the introduction? Yeah. Well, I was saying that we give marketers superpowers to actually connect with the sustainable conscious consumer and understand them whilst fighting climate change at the same time. So climate change is a huge challenge. Every company in the world has sustainability targets that will not be met by 2030. And the global gap already today rises to about 2.4 gigatons per year and growing. Companies are in a desperate search for solutions across their whole supply chain. And actually within that supply chain, there's a huge area of procurement, which is digital ad spend, which is responsible for about 7.3% of that global gap due to the high energy consumption of the data-driven process behind it. Just to have one figure stick for every banner impression that is being launched in a campaign, there's about 1 gram of CO2 being released out to the atmosphere. Can you pass the slide, please? So if we look at the individual challenges facing marketers and consumers today, marketers, of course, are seeking to increase their customer base, and they're finding problems both with increasing prices and also technical difficulties. And at the same time, there's a lot of waste in the system, a lot of impressions going nowhere, adding to those to that carbon footprint. On the other side of the spectrum, we have the very same consumers these marketers are trying to reach that are sincerely preoccupied and concerned about climate, and they don't really know where to start in this. Of course, they're seeking better products and services that are more sustainable in nature. So within this friction is where we found an amazing opportunity in terms of aligning consumers and marketers around the common goal to getting to net zero. By bringing consumers closer to marketers in a conversation, in a dialogue, we retrieve data that allows us to build more efficient services, marketing services that allow us to actually fund and embed CO2 reduction for both sides. Can you pass the slide, please? So our model builds in a positive spiral of 3 steps. First, consumer inclusion. Second, increased performance out of that inclusion. And third, reduced footprint as a result being funded. If we look at the detail of consumer inclusion, we include consumers by providing them a climate coaching app that you can all download on the app stores today, where you'll be able to calculate what your personal carbon footprint is as a starting point on your journey to net zero, and actually educate yourself around how you can live a more sustainable life and how you behave, how you move, how you consume different categories. And by just staying engaged with the app, you can actually do free regular offsets for free. This sounds interesting, right? Now, how does that work? Well, out of this dialogue, these questions that users are responding, we get a nice stream of high quality data that we can use to actually derive behaviors that allow our machine intelligence to actually start constructing audiences that can be used for campaign targeting purposes. So effective that it actually allow us to embed within our cost structure climate reduction for both sides, for consumers and for marketers. Next slide, please. Our niche is the profound understanding of the sustainable conscious consumer. We get this depth by actually having designed quite specifically a product that has quite a unique dialogue journey, where we're quite intentional, not only in showing consumers how they can live more sustainable, but also how we can unpack category understanding across different points in the actual purchase funnel. This is not just any survey app. What we built here is a combination of knowledge between behavioral scientists and data scientists to allow for advanced interpretations. Advanced interpretations that help us to, at speed, build quality audiences of some size with regards to real-time events that are happening that we can talk with which are users. And the quality of this data is quite high from the point of view that users have a self-interest in actually responding to the questions thoroughly because they want to get to net zero. It's mission critical for them. Next slide, please. Out of all these users, what we build is actually live panels of sustainable consumers in the different geographies where we operate. We start commercializing services from a base of 10,000 active users within the app, of course, working towards representative in age and geography. And due to the nature of the app itself, users describe themselves in a very generous fashion. So we keep very broad and quite deep data graphs in all of them. And of course, we're always talking about zero-party data. Next slide, please. Out of these detailed insights that we get from our panels, we can actually put our machine intelligence power filter to work to find similar users over the base of publishers that we revenue share with. So we can go from building audiences from thousands to hundreds of thousands with high degrees of confidence. Next slide, please. Out of these audiences that we build that are provided to marketers for the targeting of their campaigns over mainstream digital media, we actually get super effective campaigns, and we'll actually be able to double the efficacy versus industry standards and versus our competitors, both for brand building and performance building campaigns. Next slide, please. And the most important part of it, they're all net neutral campaigns. At the end of every campaign, we send a report out to our clients where we help them estimate the carbon footprint of the actual delivery of that campaign, or we plug into their agency calculator to do that, and the quantity of CO2 that we've been able to offset, getting to net neutral campaigns every time for video campaigns and display campaigns. Next slide, please. Out of this data collection and processing capability, we cannot just only build audiences, we can also respond to difficult questions today, such as what key messages will resonate the most with a sustainable conscious consumer, or where does my brand stand in the mind of the sustainable conscious consumer for brand tracking purposes. Last and final slide, please. So our objective now is to take this capability global. We want to help brands understand and get deeper into the sustainable consumer. And actually, we have two huge budgets to move from. One is the audience spend, the other one is the consumer research spend. And we worked out that we can actually, at scale operating globally, reduce the global carbon footprint of the digital ad industry with as much as 45%. Thank you.